Hello everyone, I am David, I am a PhD student in computational linguistics, and in this video I am going to talk about Python unpacking in assignment. This is actually the first part of two I have prepared for you, and in this first part I'm going to present some basics on this topic. So we start by defining what a tuple is. In Python, a tuple is a data structure which holds items, they are ordered, and the notation for that is here. So there are parentheses, and inside there is a sequence of items separated by a comma. So here we assigned a tuple 1 and 2 to the variable name pair. And interesting note here is that we actually don't need to use the parentheses for defining a tuple. We can only use the comma because this is what it makes a tuple. So here when I run this cell, we can see that when we print pair, we have the tuple itself, and then when we print the type of the pair, we have a tuple. Another thing which is interesting in Python is how to create a one-item tuple, because it's maybe not intuitive. One might think that you can do it by enclosing the item into the parentheses, but actually this is not a tuple. When I run this and print here the type of this variable, it's actually an integer. How to create a tuple? We need to add this comma here, and of course we don't have to use the parentheses as I said here in the previous example, so we can do just that. And here we can see in the output of these two examples that we have a tuple here. And we are moving to what exactly the unpacking a tuple is in assignment. So again, I start by assigning a tuple 1, 2 into the pair. And here on this line, we have this unpacking. What happens here is that we have a pair here, and we directly assigned the values of this pair to the variables named C and D. When I run this cell, we can see that when we print C and D, they are the contents of the pair. Again, we don't have to use these parentheses here, and the output is the same. You have to be very careful about the length of the data structures, because here we can see there is a tuple which contains 3 elements, 1, 2, and 3, and we try to assign it to 2 variables. Of course, when I run this, there is a value error. There are too many values to unpack because they're expected 2 and we got 3. The same thing is for the other way around. So when I run this, we have again an error here because we have 3 expected variables here, and we got only 2. So far I show you that this unpacking in assignment works for tuples, but actually in Python you can use it for any iterable, because tuple is an iterable, and you can use it for a list as well. So here I have a list in Python which I assign to variable myList, and now I can unpack the values directly to x, y, and z, and when I run the cell, well, we see an expected output here. Which is interesting that we can also use brackets here on the left hand side, and it works as expected. So I have some other examples here. As I said, also strings are iterables. Here in this example we have a string here, a cat, which is a sequence of characters, and I assign this cat, or directly unpack these characters to first, second, and third variable. So when I run this, we have a cat here. We can also use that for another iterable, which is a range here. When I run this, well, we have the expected output here. Also, we can use it for generators. Here we have 3 numbers in the generator, which are unpacked to A, B, and C, and we can see the output here. Last thing which I will be talking about here in this video is this special variable underscore. Where we want to use it is in cases where we are not really interested in some values. So for example, we have a record here which contains 3 items, Alice, 34, and Prague, and we are not really interested in the number, we are just interested in the name and in the city. So when we unpack this record to 3 variables, we put underscore here because, well, we want to show others that we are not interested in this middle variable. So when we run that, we have just Alice and Prague. What actually is this underscore is a normal variable name, because in Python, the underscore character can be used in variable names. But what it does when we assign something to that, it gets always overwritten. So here I have an example. So I have a list X, Y, and Z, and I assign that to underscore, underscore, and last. So what do you think that happens when I run this cell? So the output is Y and Z, because first we assign X to the underscore, then we assign Y to underscore, so the X is overwritten, so this is this Y here, and to the last variable named last is assigned Z, so it's here. So this is everything from this first video. I have prepared another one. Consider subscribing if you are interested in this topic, and see you next time. Bye.